Welcome everyone. Thank you for coming and for listening to the story that I have about Eindhoven Engine. My name is Clement Goossens. I am the director of Eindhoven Engine BV, the Eindhoven Engine company that is running the Eindhoven Engine program. This is a slide I always show at the start. So just to, because I liked it very much when I saw it the first time, because it's really it is an impression of what Eindhoven Engine wants to be. We want to energize, to give energy to the innovation system in the Brainport region. Before I start about how do we think about innovation, or how do we think that we should approach innovation, just in very simple terms, what is Eindhoven Engine for us? It's three things. It's a joint building. It's also teams, students, company teams working together on research projects, healthcare projects, smart city projects, high-tech systems projects, and automotive projects, and many other type of projects you can imagine. So it's a building, a joint facility, it's teams, company student teams, and it's research projects. Those three elements is Eindhoven Engine. I'll come back to that, of course. Okay, so in the past year we have been working on how to create Eindhoven Engine and what is Eindhoven Engine, what should it be, and there are a few things that we thought were very important for this region and why we should create something like Eindhoven Engine. First is the United Nations goals. The challenges from the global challenges from the United Nations. Those are the 17 goals. And if you look at those goals, a lot of them require technology that we have in this region, in the Brainport region. From good health, well-being, quality education, industry, innovation, infrastructure, climate, sustainability and communities. All of this is technology that we can provide within Brainport for solutions in these areas. So we really think this is a call for action also for the Brainport region. Secondly, what we see happening is the change of industry from the first generation mechanization, water power, steam power, to the second generation, third generation, and right now we're going to cyber-physical systems. So industry itself is transforming, and fourthly, we see technology changing. We see technology and humans coming together, even merging in a lot of cases. So all of this is something that Brainport has the competences for to provide solutions in these fields. We're very good in cooperation in the Brainport region. We have design competences, we have material competences, we have high-tech system competences, human technology interaction, data sciences at the moment is something that is being worked on across the whole region. And last but not least, system of systems, really complex systems. That's something that we are very good at in this region. So, I also wanted to show this. Also, education is changing, and it's globally. It's going on for already 1,000 years. We had the first generation of education, which was pure education. Second generation of education of universities and polytechnics, it was all about research. The third generation that we're living in right now is mostly about valorization. How can we get all the research and all the knowledge that's being generated at the universities and polytechnics, how can we get that to society? And right now we're going into what we call the fourth generation, and the fourth generation is an open network type of universities and polytechnics. So it's not universities that are like islands within society, but those are universities that are really connected to society, to societal groups, to industry, almost merging into an open innovation system. Now, in all of this, is happening in Brainport. So there's a lot going on at the moment. We have global challenges, we have the technology to provide the solutions, and we have a development within our universities and polytechnics that really help to bring those solutions to the market. And in the past 10, 15 years, you could say we have been providing, we've been preparing for this. We have been grouping research within the region into campuses. We have at the moment already, we have the high-tech automotive campus in Helmond. We have the university campus in the city center, the design campus at Stripe S and soon also Stripe T. And we have the high-tech campus near Waalre in the south. And we are building more campuses like the Brainport Industries campus. So on the infrastructure side for innovation, we have it really well, we're really well taken care of. But also we're taking care of content in this region. With Brainport Next Generation, something we started about 6-7 years ago, if I remember correctly. We've been making content for the region on healthcare roadmaps, on high-tech systems roadmaps, automotive roadmaps, energy roadmaps, and there are more roadmaps. So we have the infrastructure and we have the roadmaps in place for our industry and our knowledge institutes to cooperate in. And most importantly, well, from my point of view, I come from a knowledge institute, the students and our way of working. I think in the past 5 years, a little bit longer, we have been venturing with all kinds of new ways of doing innovation. And this is an example from Eindhoven universities, but there are also examples from Fontys and from other knowledge institutes within the region. This is the Stella team, and the Stella team, they made the solar car, the energy positive car. Everyone thought it would not be possible to make an energy positive family car, but the students, they did it. And basically what the university did was give them the space, give them the facilities, and give them time. And then with their own ideas, they created such a solar car. Now this kind of working together, this kind of cooperation is something that we want to bring in all over the region, not only at the universities or polytechnics, but also in the cooperation with the companies. So we have infrastructure, we have the roadmaps, and we have a great way of working within the region. And then we can get to new type of industries that we need in Brainport for our future. Now, this was recognized by a set of companies and the knowledge institutes within the region. And these companies, together with Fontys, TU Eindhoven and TNO, they joined hands and they started thinking about what should Eindhoven Engine be. Well, at that time we were not talking about Eindhoven Engine. The name was not yet thought of. But knowing these kind of ingredients, knowing the challenges that we have globally, the United Nations challenges, how can we come up with a working proposition for this region to do innovation in the future? Now, one of the important challenges within that those companies and knowledge institutes identified right from the start, is that we have to close the gap between the early technology levels, so say fundamental research, to the production of actual applications for the market. In between, so that's for those of you who are familiar with technology levels, the technology readiness levels 4, 5, and 6, that's where we have to come with the solution. Now, this is where universities and polytechnics are very active. This is where every company is very active, and in this region, a lot of companies are also quite active in this area. What we want to do with Eindhoven Engine is close this gap, to make sure that we can have an acceleration of innovation by closing this gap. Actually, we call this a gap, but I'm told that in Asian countries this is also called a bridge of opportunity. So it's also nice to talk about having a real opportunity to work with. Now, there are several key factors that we have to take into account when you want to bridge this gap, to create this bridge. First of them is proximity. From the programs that Eindhoven University has with companies, we learned that proximity is crucial. And what you see here, that's a sweet spot for the cooperation between some of the multinationals that Eindhoven University has been working with. And this sweet spot is doing research on the same site or within the same city, and preferably, of course, at research levels. The competence levels of the knowledge institutes has to be at least good, and better would, of course, be excellent or world class. But if you can find cooperation partners which are on the same site, on the same city, and doing good to excellent research, then you have a very good basis for cooperation. So first, in bridging the gap, creating this opportunity, we have to make sure that proximity is being addressed. Secondly, we have to create the collaborations. We also have to accelerate innovation. I'll come back to that. And we have to make sure that we have all the talents in the region that are necessary. Those are three crucial factors. Ecosystems that are successful globally always have access to talents. So we need to be so good that talents across the world want to come to us and work for us. That's also something that we want to address with the Eindhoven Engine concept. Now, about accelerating this innovation, this is something that most of you will have seen in some form. I think the B is for basic research. This is already product-oriented research, and this is market into the market. So it's like the TRL levels from basic research all the way to market introduction. Now, in linear innovation, that used to be in the past. Oh, I'm sorry. We all say we don't do linear innovation anymore. Today, all is dynamic innovation. But in linear innovation, what you do, you bring ready products into creating new systems. So you have devices that are available at shops, and you bring them into the systems that you want to develop. Much better would be, much faster would be, if already in the product development phase of those devices, you bring this technology into the systems. So then you don't have to wait until they go on to that they're on the market. You accelerate a little bit your innovation. Even better, of course, if you make this a cycle and it's continuous. And even better, if you make sure that the people that are working on basic research are actually challenged by this cycle. So they're actually challenged by the development and the markets that await their solutions. Now, and the best is if you can really stack all the layers that you need for innovation together. So, innovation on a societal level, making sure that whatever you create, whatever you think of, in the end has a societal purpose for humans. And then, of course, the systems that you create for them, which consist of the devices, which of course consist of the materials. If you can get this loop into place, then you have what some people call exponential innovation. So that's also an important concept for Eindhoven Engine. The first one was proximity, and the second one was we want to have all these layers into place, into that one building that Eindhoven Engine is. I'd like to say that we're the first that thought of this, but there are examples across the pond, so to say, from MIT who already created once an engine. I think the concept is a little bit different from our concept, but it's inspired by a lot of the same beliefs. It also goes for societal solutions, really say the moonshots. How can we address by disruptive technologies the societal challenges that we have, and bridging the gap between discovery and commercialization. So that's the bridge that I was talking about. That's one example that I think inspired us. And the other example is actually what we've been doing already in this region for many years, because we really learned in this region that you have to co-locate multidisciplinary teams, and how you do that is by bringing great tech and business people together. That's the different layers, bring them together, create multidisciplinary teams with different competences, mechanical competences, electrical competences, etc. Give them radical ideas, or at least the opportunity to come with radical ideas. Not everything has to fit a product roadmap. Just come up with good ideas. Give them the best facilities, give them market access, capital availability, and make sure that human capital is renewed, in the sense that you can renew your own competences, but also that you give new people a chance to work in this system. So there are a lot of lessons already in place, also from this region, on how to accelerate innovation, or how to do innovation. Now, all of those concepts together, we mixed them. We talked about it with those companies and those universities, the Polytechnic and TNO. And over the course of a year, we came with 3 crucial pillars that we think that Eindhoven Engine has to be. That's the cross-organizational teams. That means if you're going to do impactful projects, research projects, then you have to have teams from different organizations. Not only the university, not only the Polytechnic, not only TNO, but the companies together with the university, with the Polytechnic, with TNO, all together, with different competences. So the people from mechanics together with the people, the physics and the chemists, etc., working on those impactful projects in a co-location facility, because proximity matters. That it looks something like this in a very early stage of our thinking. Just a building with all the regular stuff that we used to have in the past: laboratory, experimentation facilities, testing facilities, manufacturing facilities, storage facilities. But then you add central meeting places, a nice design to be globally attractive, that you can actually attract talent from all over the world, create flexible working spaces, but mostly talent. The best people from all over the region, the most creative, the most innovative persons from the companies, from the university, the Polytechnic, from TNO, also the governments. Bring them all together into this building and let them work together on projects that are really significant for our future. And that's inspiring for them. And inspiring not only for them, but for the entire region. Now, that's how we complete our ecosystem. We have all the companies, we have all the knowledge institutes, we have, thanks to Brainport Next Generation from 6-7 years ago, we have started creating the roadmaps, so we really have a direction on where to go when we want to work together in innovation. And what we're doing now, we're putting teams in co-location. Of course, here there are also teams in co-location. We have teams on automotive working together, teams in clinical research working together, for example, in the hospitals. And we are bringing those teams together in a way of working where you have students plus the companies working on the most exciting and challenging ideas from all those roadmaps. And maybe those projects will not come with the answer, but at the least they will have worked on exciting ideas that maybe have a spin-off in the future in another field. And of course, very important, they have been able to develop their own human capital, their own competences. So what do? We approach the consortia within the region. These are the partners of Eindhoven Engine. Not specifically this one, I stole this slide from another presentation, but these are already consortia within this region, and what we did was approaching different consortia in the region to say, okay, you're already in your consortia working together, so this second layer, this is already happening in consortia, and now together with you, with the consortia, we want to make this triangle, this top of the pyramid, and really close the cycle for you. So we were talking to the consortia, and then we have been creating with those consortia those multidisciplinary teams. We asked them, within your consortia, consortium, who do you want to bring together in such a team? And we'll make sure that we will also have the students come into your team. And we'll also make sure that you have a building to work with on a co-location site. And not only on an automotive team, but also on a healthcare team, on a smart city team, on a lithography team, all in the same building. With the idea that if there is someone, for example, in an automotive team, that thinks we have a real problem with ICT, and he knows that this might have been already resolved once for an automotive project, he can simply walk through the corridor, ask a colleague, and say, from the automotive team, of course, and how did you solve that? And that's this proximity, this way of working, this helping each other across different sectors, actually in one building. This is how we think that we can accelerate innovation. Now, of course, we give them great challenges. We try to keep the challenges that we give to those teams a little bit outside of the regular roadmaps that we have in this region. The nicest thing would be if, say, you have a healthcare roadmap and there is a challenge and everyone thinks this will never be resolved. Let's just leave it. No, let's not leave it. Let's do it then in Eindhoven Engine. Let's give it to those student companies teams. Maybe it's a crazy challenge, a crazy topic, maybe just like this energy positive solar car. Maybe it was a crazy idea, but if it works, we really have something in our hands to have a new industry in this region. So themes like catching complexity, how to crack down complexity, to make sure that we can continue making the most complex systems in this region. But also themes like eternal energy from the sun, never to worry about energy anymore. Or bodies that repair themselves by regenerative medicine, for example. Now, at this moment, where are we as Eindhoven Engine? Because we, of course, you have we had a lot of ideas all over the year, but at a certain point, you have to start implementing. And this was our roadmap for implementation. So we want to go to this joint facility, starting the starting location. We think that in 2030 we will have grown to about 500 persons in such a central facility, and 500 persons would be more or less half of them students, and the other half would be the people from the companies and governments working in the teams with the students. But of course, at the start, it will not be that big. I think in the coming year will be about 50 to 60 persons in the joint facility. You need starting capital. Then you need to define your first projects, and then you have to start growing. Now, where are we? First, we got starting funds from the Brainport region deal, the action agenda. 15 million euros of this 130 million that was granted to the region about a year ago is for Eindhoven Engine. That's for an 8-year program, so till about 2025 for its implementation. 15, 15, yeah. So we have a starting capital to begin with. We have a joint location, which was made available by Eindhoven University. For people that know the campus, this is the multimedia pavilion. Soon, hopefully, to be the engine pavilion. And we have projects. So we have been talking to the consortia, and we have 4 projects in place that our students with the companies are going to work on in that building. That's a project on connected driving, a project on medical technologies, mostly cardiovascular and perinatal research, a project on lithography, in order, for example, to make a low-cost wafer stepper. That would be really a great challenge. We can do this. These machines are now very expensive, but worth every penny you pay for it. And on smart cities. So we have 4 projects starting. They will be in that facility by the first quarter of the coming year in 2019. And then we hope that we have turned on the light and exactly in the future get this effect that we can really start energizing the innovation ecosystem in this region. Thank you very much.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
What's your ambition in terms of number of projects?
Yeah. Well, the ambition is not in the number of projects, but the ambition is to have 500 FTE, full-time equivalents, in the joint location by 2030, which means that by 2025 we will about 250 FTE in the building, and the coming year, say maximum 60, maybe 70. Yeah.
Then the building will be too small.
Will be? I'm sorry.
The building will be too small.
Yes. Yeah. Then the building will soon be. The building can have about 250 persons. Can handle that. So for the coming 5 years, that's okay. But after that, then we'll have to move. I hope that we have to move then, because then we really, if not, then.
So it looks like you've got an accelerator concept there.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I also work at a high-tech accelerator.
Mm-hmm.
And I see you draw lines to MIT and what they do.
Yeah.
And MIT has but the one key feature that I missed in all those bullet points of how you're going to incent these people and so forth, is that MIT takes 5% for MIT and then gives the rest to the companies, to the individuals, to incent them to do things. And I know that's a very different model from PUE. How do you expect change? Because I know that the TUEs tried these things before with the building, the blue building, all the different buildings you've had in the past. How is this different than what you've done before? I see lots of big words and things, but I don't see
Intellectual property. Yeah. Okay. What we basically do, we work with the consortia within the region. And those consortia, they have their own project consortium agreements, and they continue their work. The work that is being done with those consortia will always fit within that project consortium agreement. What we do as Eindhoven Engine, we put like an add-on on those consortia, and the add-on is the student team, is the joint location, and are some other services that we will have available in this building. But that's on top of the consortium. So we don't touch matters like the intellectual property that's being cared of within the consortium. Other than, of course, we always have to check that it complies with state aid rules. But if it does, then we can put on the add-on for Eindhoven Engine. Is that more or less the? Do you take? No. Eindhoven Engine BV. So the company part is really a facilitating BV. It's really about the program, and the program is for all those parties that are participating in it. They have their own project consortium agreement, so they are cooperation partners, consortiums, and Eindhoven Engine BV does, well, it has me as a director, but that's about it. We're only there to make sure that we can make contracts, for example, with the one that the party that actually owns the building, that we can hire someone, for example, to organize events when we need someone to organize events for the Eindhoven Engine program. But the program consists of all those consortia, and they have their own rules. So there's no equity, anything in Eindhoven Engine. No.
You talked about the 15 million before. Is there money for supporting the projects?
Yeah.
Or just for the building?
No, that's of course there's rent to be paid. So what we're looking at this moment is that for every FTE that a project brings in, they have to pay 3,000 euros for the rent per year. That covers it. And all the other funding is for the students to do the research, is for if some infrastructure is needed, etc. Yeah. So it's not for paying the facilities. The facilities will be paid for by the one that owns the building, but of course you have to pay rent. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
What are the challenges for the future to come?
Yeah. I think one of the big challenges is research infrastructure within the region, because we don't want this to be a standalone concept. This has to work within the whole ecosystem and create links to the Brainport Industries campus, to the ASML campus in Veldhoven, to the automotive campus. And we want to use, of course, also their infrastructure. For example, the research project that we have on medical technologies really needs the infrastructure at the hospitals for the clinical research. So access to all the infrastructure all across the region, that's really a challenge. But I think with these first four projects, we already have access to the hospitals, to the high-tech campus, to the Brainport smart city, in the smart district in Helmond. So yeah, we're getting there. Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, we have to go to the next talk, but we will have more time for questions after Lorna has talked, and you guys can ask him in the break as well to, all your questions.
Thank you.
Lorna.
Thank you. Yeah, so my name is Lorna Goulden, and together with Juanita de Vries, who is actually a city science advisor at MIT, we're organizing the Future Talent Challenge. So before I get started, a little bit of an introduction. So I'm originally from the UK, and Juanita is from Colombia and has had a very interesting journey that's taken her via Milan and Boston to end up here in Eindhoven. So I was actually invited by Philips to come here to Eindhoven, moved from London in '94, and I've been here ever since, although my work has taken me around the world. So I've been from France to New York, from Silicon Valley to Singapore. So I work in innovation, primarily bringing together design and technology and business, and myself going through a big change from being a product realization director at Cognizant, and on Monday I start at Conclusion as a digital director. Sorry? Congratulations. Thank you. I also organize the Eindhoven Internet of Things meetup. Recognize some faces here. And we have 1,200 members. And we also have organized our own Things Network, which is a community-driven Internet of Things network. And if anyone's interested, we're at the Maker Fair at Strijpes in the Klokgebouw this weekend. But I'd like to thank the Kazerne and the Innovation Café for inviting us to here to talk about our Future Talent Challenge. And I'm going to start with a short video. So an amazing amount of developments covering nearly all industries and a large amount of professions that we're hearing are no longer going to be needed in the future. But it does rather beg the question, what is going to happen when employment becomes the exception, not the rule? But this is, of course, a very technology-driven perspective. And we're talking about the Future Talent Challenge, which is actually about people. And so we're talking about this blue-eyed, dribbling little chap on the left, not the one on the right. So what's their future? But it is something that we're seeing already now at the moment, having a huge impact on the region and on the Netherlands. Our talent challenge is really focused on the Netherlands, because we're seeing, if you just see the research and the headlines in the news, that we have a shortage already of technically trained people, and that's actually impacting our competitive position. Apparently, we need to double the amount of technical diplomas in this region to keep it moving. And all of this wonderful digital transformation, it's actually being slowed down because we do not have the talent to actually be able to implement it. And this, of course, has a potential huge financial impact. If we're seeing estimations of over $70 billion unrealized value. We don't have enough talent now, but if it continues in this way, it's actually apparently going to be a crisis in 2030. And we're not just talking about new skills, but also, as we're seeing here, completely new ways of working. And so it was in this context of a very fast, very disruptive, but also very chaotic, potentially, change that we decided, myself and Juanita, to start this Future Talent Challenge. So what is it? So we're actually organising a series of events and activities to bring together engaged experts, also organisations who are active in the area of talent. And we're looking at it from the point of view from a number of different areas. And we've got the ball rolling already. We set up a meetup. And last week we had our kickoff meetup. And there we had a number of people already talking to us on 3 key themes that we're seeing as impacting the talent of the future, but also impacting each other. Living, learning and working. And what we're doing is we're working towards now a main event, November the 2nd, so put that in your agenda. It's going to be a very exciting event. And what we're doing is we're actually going to start looking at questions in these 3 main themes. So from the living point of view, we've heard already about how important it is for a region, for a country, to actually be attractive to talent. But it's not just about attracting the talent, it's actually retaining. How long does talent actually stay in a place? But also from the point of view of working. So we have the enterprises, we also have the entrepreneurs. Do they actually take the time? Do they have the time to look ahead 10 years, 15 years to see what their business is actually going to be? Or is the call now for the talent based on the current situation? And if we see these huge changes, what are we actually going to be needing and what should we be moving towards in the future? And so, of course, connecting these together is the learning. Are we actually teaching our children the right skills? Are we actually looking at the skills and the talent that we have and helping to train them forward? So there's a lot of questions, and actually that's one of our main aims, is to raise these questions, find more questions, and together at our event in November is to see, by bringing together these different questions and perspectives, to develop some new insights. So here's just some of the presentations we had. So we had some people there talking about talent spotting, talent attraction. Wonderful example of the escape rooms here, where you can actually predict people's behaviour and see how they behave in teams. Also amazing stuff that's going on. We're connecting up with Fontys. But also looking at how we're educating, but also protecting the young talent. Because from the living point of view, we have a lot of talent that potentially are moving themselves towards burnouts. But also, do we have talent that is actually not being accessed because of the bureaucratic systems that we have? So talking also with experts in high high talent immigration and migration. And these are some of the questions that already popped up, lots of questions. And it's quite funny, really, but the first question, what is talent? And apparently we don't actually have a unified description or understanding of what talent actually is. So that's going to be an interesting one to dig deeper into. Skills or knowledge. Also, one of the things we talked about in the kickoff was the value of mentorship, how people can actually help other people sort of achieve their zone of proximal development. Value of communication, and also how miscommunication can impact talent development, particularly when we're talking about these multidisciplinary teams. And also talent, and this was an interesting discussion, how it's linked to purpose, and how purpose is a very key driver from the human perspective that we sometimes maybe miss if we have too much of a technology perspective. And it's something maybe to bear in mind with attracting and retaining talent. So these were just some of the questions that arose in the kickoff, which was super exciting. So why are we doing this? Well, I'd like to show a little video which will hopefully illustrate some of the sort of motivations that myself and Juanita have for inspiring this sort of exercise.
There are these two young fish swimming along, and they happen to meet an older fish swimming the other way, who nods at them and says, "Morning, boys, how's the water?" And the two young fish swim on for a bit, and then eventually one of them looks over at the other and goes, "What the hell is water?" The point of the fish story is merely that the most obvious, important realities are often the ones that are hardest to see and talk about. Stated as an English sentence, of course, this is just a banal platitude. But the fact is that in the day-to-day trenches of adult existence, banal platitudes can have a life or death importance. The plain fact is that you graduating seniors do not yet have any clue what day in, day out really means.
This is just a short clip of what's actually a very nice presentation. I can recommend looking it up and watching the full movie. But I use this really to highlight one of the things that he says there. The most obvious and important realities are often the hardest to see and talk about. If you think back to the first video I showed, so we've got these technologies coming, we all know about automation, but it's very difficult to understand the impact that's going to be having on us, on our future talent needs and on our future businesses. And so what we're aiming to do by raising the questions, but also bringing questions from very different perspectives together to also generate insights that can maybe, our goal is to give us a better sense of what we might be able to do to prepare, but also maybe to develop towards a future that we actually choose. But one of the things is important that all of us have a number of biases. So maybe with our discussions, we can also start to challenge those biases and see if those are maybe also having an impact, and if we can remove them, can that also improve our talent? But also underlying that, I say, we've got the well-being theme, and can we move forward in a more sustainable way, both for people and for business? This is probably familiar to a lot of people, but I really like to show this video, which really highlights from the World Economic Forum what they anticipate the 21st century skills are that we should be teaching children today. So one of the things we're going to do as part of our event is we're going to ask the children themselves what they think their future work will be. Bearing in mind, what if employment is the exception, not the rule? What will their purpose be in the future? And is it work at all, or is it an activity that we give another name? So we're going to have a workshop, design thinking workshop with the children, and we want to play the results of that back to some of our business leaders, also HR executives, who I hope will be maybe surprised at the insights they can get from their future employees. And again, this will help us, we're hoping, to just gain a little bit of a different view on what the future is bringing and what we can maybe do to move towards it in a faster way and a more effective way.
This afternoon, we're going to draw people doing different jobs. And the first job we're going to draw is a firefighter.
Have a think in your head what a firefighter looks like.
Oh, we're doing the same.
What's your firefighter called?
Mine's called Firefighter Gary. Firefighter Stan. Firefighter Simon. He's big and strong. He's got a big helmet on.
That's brilliant, isn't it?
Next, we're going to draw a surgeon.
Have you thought of a name for your surgeon?
Jim Bob.
Jim Bob.
He's a brain surgeon. I think he would wear a stethoscope. He gives you medicine.
That's his ambulance.
OK, next, we're going to draw a fighter pilot.
This is his jet plane. He rescues people. He likes to do stunts in the air and stuff.
OK, now, who would like to meet these people for real?
Yeah! They're dressed up.
My name's Tamsin and I'm a surgeon in the NHS.
My name's Lauren and I'm a pilot in the Royal Air Force.
My name's Lucy. I'm a firefighter in the London Fire Brigade.
So who wants to know how to do an operation?
Who's putting it on?
Try my stethoscope.
We put this in here.
What does it look like?
There you go. Now you're a proper fighter pilot.
So into your ears. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
It's really good.
It's much better,
yeah, it's much better than my kids' one.
Not just schools and education teaching new talents, we also have the aspect of our social cultural influences that may also be keeping talent from developing in the way that we need them to. So it's also a topic that we're going to be discussing at the event as well. Are there other biases that we have that are maybe keeping people from developing into the talent that we're actually looking for? Do we actually have this latent talent already here instead of having to import people, many, many people? So these are some of the questions that we're going to be addressing and discussing at our event. So we'll close on that one, and basically an invitation to anybody who is interested in joining the discussion, sharing their expertise and insights. We have a website, futuretalentchallenge.nl. From there you can also get a link to the meetup, join the meetup, and from next week we should be having the program online that we're organising for November. So I hope to be able to talk with you and you can join our discussion. Thank you. Yes.
What I can see in your story, I like it very much. Thank you for explaining what you do. What I saw also in the first story is that I'm lacking often that we forget the talents we have from education, like the St. Lucas.
Mm-hmm.
It's not only the brains, we also have the makers.
Absolutely, yes.
And they should they need to be more involved in also this system, because it's too much, on the level of only the brains, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And then there is a lack, I think, and I hope we can integrate it into this whole system of engines and accelerator talents and innovations, is culture and nature.
Yes.
About technical things and design, etc. But I think in nature that there has to be also some way of connection.
Absolutely. And maybe to answer that, we're also in discussion with the Fontys Pulse program. I'm not sure if you're aware of that, but there they actually have a minor in creative entrepreneurialism and technology. And they're also bringing together MBO together with the university level students to work together on projects. So definitely bringing that together. And it's a key discussion point. I was brought up in the English education system and still struggle a little bit with the sort of segregation that we have here. And I think it'd be great to discuss as to whether that's a system that should continue or whether we're actually, slowing things down by not recognizing the different levels and the different skills, or giving it a different bias, I believe, label. Any other questions?
You posed it as a rhetorical question, but I mean, yes, there's more than just gender as a bias. I mean, of course.
Yes.
So, but I think, it's interesting. Coming from a very multicultural area of Seattle, Washington, USA, I don't see a lot of mixing here, like actually. Sorry. It's not as rosy as everyone makes it out to be or something. But you could do more to promote in schools and things.
Yes. Yeah.
Very basic levels.
And one of the things that we are planning to do, because we're raising lots of questions, and we're not going to be coming up with answers, but we want to generate insights. And from those insights to start the discussion to then look for a way forward. So one of the things we will be doing is we'll be building a wall in the Warehouse of Innovation, so that's the old F&A building, and we want to really put a lot of these questions here and invite people to come and add more questions or insights, particularly also from experiences in other parts of the world, so that we're maybe also being confronted with our own Dutch way of doing things that we could also let loose a little bit. So these kind of insights and discussions are very, very important and valuable. Thank you.
The cultural question is not, it's present all the time, considering that we are from different places and we have experienced the adaptation and experience in Eindhoven, in different ways. But I believe that this is something that is the culture, the meaning, are elements that are clearly really present in our discussion.
Yes, definitely. Thank you.
There's a short break. So I want to invite you all to the bar, have a drink and have a snack. And then after the break, Ella will start her talk.
So this is about Fontys University of Applied Science. So research is not very much one of our topics. We are doing more and more research, but we are only doing that since 15 years. And before we are only about education. NTE, of course, is a lot about research. And what we do about research is about applied research. So always working, making concepts, designing things, and always making it ourselves too. Our university's got 44,000 students, 4,500 staff, 85 bachelor programs, 20 master programs, and we are in Eindhoven, Tilburg, and Venlo. We have one focus point, which is mentioned over here. We call it tech, and it's about technology, entrepreneurship, and creativity. And this is what we call the future skills. So when you showed us the movie about the Fab Lab, I really feel acquainted with that one. We have these labs, we call them tech spaces, from technology, entrepreneurship and creativity. And they're really like a Fab Lab, working people, children, students, but also, everybody can over. It's really an open space. We call it Tech for Society because it's always, we are doing it for making a better world, although this is great ambition, but this is what we aim to do. And then we have some focus points in our research. And what I want to tell you about is, because we are talking about technology, high-tech systems and materials, and then we have a center of expertise in the high-tech systems and materials. I'll tell you about that more later on. I think this is interesting as well, that people don't know, not very many people know, that we started our educational program in 1940 for the Dutch people. Between us, in that time we called this an HTS. And it was started by Von Doorne, actually DAF, and Philips, mechanical engineering and electrical engineering. This is how we started, well, many years ago. And this is what it is now. Now we have more and more programs, not only electrical engineering and mechanical engineering, but ook applied physics, computer science, mechatronics, automotive, industrial design, applied mathematics. Regarding technology, we have about 10,000 students, 2,000 graduates every year, and 3,000 freshmen every year. So we are really preparing for the future, because our goal and our ambition is, we make these appointments together with the Brainport, is to double in 2025. So we really have got a job to do. I told you I would like to start with telling you about the change in education. And I also wanted to show you how we interact with industry. And as you see, the Eindhoven Engine comes up there as well. Well, our students start here beginning from secondary school and sometimes also from vocational education. They start in the first 2 years, which is really to get them used to the higher educational concept. Learning independent, working together with other students, planning, the organization, which is very hard for students when they're 17, 18 years old, especially for the boys. Excuse me, I think you know what I mean. So we really have to train them, not also about the knowledge, but also about skills. You see here, there's what we call the box, body of knowledge and skills. In the Netherlands, we have in all our the University of Applied Science programs, we have the same body of knowledge and skills all over the Netherlands. So when you're from industry and you hire, for example, an IT student, you know that all over the Netherlands they have the same body of knowledge and skills. But there are, of course, differences, and we make these differences in the third and the fourth year. Anyway, in the first year, students begin with the integrated monodisciplinary project, learning to work together with other students. And in the second year, they work on an integrated multidisciplinary project, as we have programs in Dutch and in English for the international students as well. Here also, this is not only multidisciplinary, but also multiculturally, with different cultures, and always speaking English. And as I just met, of course I know Anita, but we just met here in the break, I asked her to tell her about her second year project and the robotics team that you're in. Would you please tell me just a little bit about your project? Please come over. Their students is Wim, Ivan and Anita. They're from the PI team. So they're unprepared because I just asked them.
First of all, thank you. I wasn't expecting to give this presentation, so my name is Anita Karki. I'm fourth mechatronics student at Fontys. I'm one of the few girls. So at our second year, we get the opportunity to work with different engineering faculties, like mechatronics, electrical engineering, and mechanical engineering. And there is a robotics competition hosting from America first. There is a non-profit organization which makes a competition for children from very young age till 18 years, so they can learn about engineering before they go to university. So at our second year, we started with 7 mechatronics students doing this project. We didn't compete at the competition, but at the end of second year, we were left with 3 of us, Yvonne, Wim, and me, and we thought this is a great idea to expand it. And after, in our third year, we asked the mechanical engineers, electrical engineers to join the team, and also as well as high school. So now we work with high school students and the second year's mechanical, electrical, and mechatronics students on the same project and go to America and do the competition. And also, for this is when you go to America, it's a big budget project. So and for that we also have collaborations with different companies like, I don't know if you know it, Sunk Intech Buffet, DHL, who shipped our robot from here to America like for free, and Elobau, and those are we work with the students from high school and school at Fontys, and as well as the different companies. So yeah, and we also last year started up a stichting foundation, and in the future we want to expand it. There not only the high school kids, but also the kids from lower school can learn technique in the future, and so they can make their career choice at the very young age, if they want to go to the technical side, or they want to do something else besides technique. So that's it.
Thank you, Anita. Thank you for improvising like that. And I think, well, this is, well, what we show. The question.
Okay, the organization in first gives a competition. They have a game, and they give at the first week of January, they show the review video, where's the game about and what your robot needs to do. And after that, we have 6 weeks time to build the actual robot and send it to America for the competition. And what we now are doing till January, we have a practice session where we do the theoretical stuff as well as the practical stuff, as practicing how to draw SolidWorks, how to do the electrical parts, and how to write the software. So not only the students of the university, but also the high school kids are learning the same thing. So they can join a hand to make a good robot together.
Thank you. Okay, well, I'll continue, but I think this is a good example to show you how it works in practice. And yeah, there's another question, but I think we have to do the question afterwards. This is what keep it in mind. So we start already with the integrated multidisciplinary project. What really is a change, I told you about passive to active learning, that our students are more or less also our colleagues, because the elderly students, they teach also the younger students and the high school students, which is wonderful. And because we work with new technologies, this is within this part. In the 3rd and the 4th year, we have 3rd and 4th year students teaching employees of ASML about 3D printing, for example. So it is more equal, because changes go so fast. Clement already told that about it. People that work for some years in industry, sometimes students know of course, about a certain topic more than some people working in industry. So it's all about cooperation, working together, which I would like to mention is very important message in the presentation of Clement. This is what you see, this the third and the fourth year. So we really, actually we don't have any programs anymore. Over here we have the engineering programs like automotive and mechatronics and so on. And over here we start to work multidisciplinary together with industry. And this is all based on our research program, and these are just examples of our research programs. There can be a lot more, and what is very nice as well, because we have the body of knowledge and skills in the first 2 years, we can adapt very quickly to the new demands of industry to make new, to adapt new topics in the third and the fourth year. So we started with this last year, this program with the minor program. The students working together on certain topics, and now the specialization in the fourth year is also together with students from other disciplines. And we have some topics that we think are important for all our students. It's about data, system engineering, model-based design, and engineering and embedded software, and also basic like professional skills, maybe are for all humans very important, sustainability and ethics and professional thinking. We have a close connection with industry because industry brings in the projects to our center of expertise, high-tech systems and materials, also to Eindhoven Engine in the future. We're working on that now. And the automotive center of expertise, so they provide us with all the projects that come in over here in our educational program. And what we always say, well, after 4 years, well, it doesn't end, because learning doesn't end after 4 years. So you can learn a lot more when you already have, when you're graduated. Then we have our open innovation and learning labs. That's online education. People, they're all open course, open source courses, and people can come to the lab to be coached by teachers and also by students to help them in the labs. This is how it works, and I think it's very different anyway from the way I've been taught. Well, that's many, many years ago, but also I think about 10 years ago. So there really is a change, not only from passive to active learning, but also with the way we work together with industry. At the end, after the project, we have a kind of a festival, interdisciplinary festival, technology festival, and student teams show their project. Well, this is a picture of how it goes. It's really like a festival, and where all the students come and show their projects, and industry is there as well, because they are, they gave us the project, so they want to see the results, of course. And afterwards, well, we always they come with a new project. We are working together with the bigger companies, but also the smaller SMEs, of course. And well, I just showed you that our third and our fourth year is very much together with industry. Also makes it possible that industry follows the courses together with the students. Our first 2 years are at the TUE campus. I copied this from Eindhoven Dagblad yesterday, because there we started the building, well, the rebuilding of the TNO building, which will host the technical programs of Fontys, and will be there. We'll move in September 2019, so within a few months. But we also work on campuses together with industry on the place where industry works, like automotive campus. Our third and fourth year is at the automotive campus, and we are thinking about also moving with the third and the fourth year to the Brainport industry campus, so that industry and education really get mixed. When I showed you the program over here, I showed you this is all about our research programs and our projects, and when we have a project, there are workshops, master classes, and some of the master classes and workshops are just on time, which means that it is not on forehand planned every week 2 hours a certain topic like we used to have in the school, but master classes, workshops, and also people from industry can join. This is only just a little bit, but I hope this will happen more in the future. So this is the way I want. This is about our research, but well, yeah. This is the last one. Does it work? Yeah. Yeah, and then this is the Ask Festival, and we call it Ask Smart Questions, and industry can come over. And we also have this festival twice a year. Hans Driessen, who's sitting here as well, he's part of the Center of Expertise, High-Tech Systems and Material. And then the industry comes over, and they have to pitch their projects for the students. So it's also the students that can pick out the projects they like. So this is the ecosystem which we work in. And these are all the topics that we are into right now. And I hope we'll work together with that in the Eindhoven Engine. And yeah. I think what's interesting that it's not only about technology, but these are all mixed topics. So especially this one, we work together with psychology, but we also work together with serious gaming and virtual reality with the communication and the marketing program at our university. I told you we have over 85 bachelors, so every discipline is somewhere in Fontys, and it's really nice to connect together. Well, this is it. Yeah. I'm done. I have 5 minutes more. Well, maybe there are some questions.
You showed us in the beginning that you have 10,000 students.
In the
2,000 graduates,
technology department, yeah.
And 3,000 freshmen.
Yeah.
What about the 1,000 missing?
I'm sorry? 5,000 missing. Oh,
the 1,000 missing. They are dropouts?
2,000?
No, they are just following the program. So we have 2,000 graduates, we start with 3,000.
If you have 3,000 freshmen every year, then there's 1,000 missing.
Oh yeah, that's right. No, you're right. We are missing a lot in the first year. Yeah, I know what you mean, because 4 times 3,000 is 12,000.
What happens to those students?
Yeah, well, someone was talking about MIT, you know, just right now. Talk about how it was going at MIT. At MIT, people have to pay a lot of money to get in, and there's a shift before they start. We don't have the shift before the students start. Everybody, and that's a Dutch law, which actually I really like. I wouldn't have it changed. Every student can come to study with us. So they apply, and sometimes they start in the first year and they think, well, this is not really what I like, or maybe math is too difficult. This happens lots of time in the first year. So they change and they go to another discipline, or maybe they go from mechatronics to mechanical engineering, or the other way around. And then they are, they leave the program and they change. Yeah, this is what happens. There are more questions?
I have one question or invitation for you, and also for everyone, actually. On October 23rd, there's an event at the high-tech campus called Women in Tech, and we're looking for women to join, and it's going to be about the intersection between design and technology, but it's really for all women who participate in tech. And it starts, let me just read this, at 4 o'clock, and it goes till 7 p.m. And there'll be lots of featured speeches, and it'll be at the high-tech campus. Great. And we'd love to have you there, and I can share it on Facebook on my profile, but I can also tell you, please look for it on on Facebook, and it's Women in Tech.
And if you're not on Facebook?
It's on Facebook. Women in Tech.
But if you're not on Facebook, how do you find it?
I think you can look it up on High Tech Campus's website, and look up hightechcampus.com, and then there's an events section there, and you can find it there as well. And we'd love to have everybody participating, men or women. Women don't exclude. So, okay, cool. Okay, cool.
And so every Thursday we have Kazarne has an offer that if you want to have a dinner here, it's 17 euros. So see you next week.